Imagine finding a simple Jefferson nickel in your pocket and realizing it could be worth tens of thousands, even millions of dollars. That's exactly why you need to stay with me. Because today, we're diving into the shocking world of valuable Jefferson Nickels that Americans are discovering every single day. These coins look ordinary, but some dates, mint marks, and tiny design details can transform a regular nickel into a life-changing fortune. And the best part? Many of these hidden treasures are still floating around in circulation right now. So, if you want to know which Jefferson Nickels could be sitting in your change, make sure you watch this entire video. You don't want to miss a single detail. And before we begin, hit that subscribe button to join Coin's Most Valuable, where we uncover the coins that could change your wallet forever. Coin number 1. What if I told you that a simple Jefferson nickel from 1962 with a tiny D mint mark, a coin millions of Americans once tossed into vending machines without thinking, could actually be worth a life-changing amount of money? What if the nickel sitting in someone's old jar, forgotten for decades, is secretly one of the most valuable Jefferson Nickels ever discovered? That's exactly why collectors all across America keep talking about the 1962 D Jefferson nickel, and why today you're about to hear the full story of how this ordinary-looking coin became one of the biggest surprises in United States coinage. The 1962 Jefferson nickel, with the D mint mark, is one of those incredible American coins that looks simple on the surface, but hides layers of history, rarity, and hidden value that most people have never even heard about. When people think about valuable coins, they often imagine old silver coins or rare gold pieces, but the truth is that some of the most surprising treasures in American coinage come from everyday denominations like the nickel. And the 1962 D Jefferson Nickel is one of the best examples of this. It's a coin that millions of Americans handled, spent, saved, and tossed into jars over the decades. Yet within those millions are a tiny number of carefully preserved coins that collectors consider almost legendary. Anyone who understands the Jefferson Nickel series knows that certain dates are far harder to find in top condition than their mintage numbers suggest, and the 1962 D is one of the toughest and most misunderstood dates of all. Many people are shocked when they discover how poor the striking quality was at the Denver Mint in the early 1960s. Production was high, the economy was booming, and demand for circulating coins kept rising. As a result, the Denver Mint's machinery was pushed to its limits, and dies were used far longer than intended. Worn dies create soft details, mushy lettering, flat steps at Monticello, and inconsistent strikes. For this reason, most 1962 D Jefferson Nickels look worn straight out of the mint, even if they have never circulated. And that's exactly why well-struck, fully detailed, sharply defined 1962 D nickels are so rare and so valuable. Even coins that look uncirculated might not have the sharpness collectors demand, especially when it comes to the full steps designation. This small detail, the clarity of the horizontal steps on Monticello, has become one of the most important factors that influence the value of a Jefferson nickel. And the 1962 D is notorious for being one of the most challenging dates for full steps examples. Collectors across the United States continue to search thousands of nickels every year, hoping to find a 1962 D with strong details. But most examples suffer from weak step definition, blurry strikes, and contact marks from the minting process. Even freshly struck coins from that year often lack the crisp lines that collectors want. That means the pool of high-grade survivors is extremely small, and this creates intense competition among collectors. The American coin market for Jefferson Nickels has grown significantly in recent years because collectors have realized how rare certain dates truly are in top condition, and the 1962 D has become one of the stars of the series. When you combine weak strikes, large mintage numbers, and the heavy circulation these coins experienced, it's easy to see why a flawless 1962 D Jefferson nickel is incredibly difficult to find today. But value doesn't come only from condition. There are also fascinating die varieties, small mint mark differences, and early die state examples that make the 1962 D Jefferson nickel exciting to study. Some examples show repunched mint marks where the D was punched more than once into the die. Others show die cracks, die chips, or unusual polishing lines from mint workers attempting to extend the life of worn dies. These tiny features make certain coins stand out and attract serious attention from variety collectors. The Jefferson Nickel series is full of little secrets like this, and the 1962 D offers some of the most interesting examples from the early 1960s. Many collectors enjoy hunting for varieties because the value of these coins can skyrocket when a rare variety is discovered in high condition. And since most Americans never pay attention to the mint mark on their nickels, countless potentially valuable coins are still sitting unnoticed in jars and drawers. The historical context of this coin adds even more depth to its story. The early 1960s were a period of transition in the United States Mint. Demand for coinage was increasing rapidly, yet production standards were struggling to keep up. This eventually led to the coin shortage of the mid-1960s, which changed minting practices forever. But in 1962, before the major changes took effect, coins like the 1962 Jefferson Nickel were being produced at an extraordinary pace without the precision and quality control that collectors see in later decades. That means many of the rarest Jefferson Nickels from the 1960s are rare, not because they were made in small quantities, but because so few were made well. And this is exactly why the 1962 D has become such a fascination among collectors. It represents a perfect storm. High mintage, low quality, and extremely low survival rate in high grade. Collectors who specialize in Jefferson Nickels talk about how frustrating and exciting this date can be. Imagine searching through hundreds or even thousands of coins looking for a single example that has clean surfaces, bright luster, sharp details, and the possibility of full steps. Most of the coins they encounter have scratches, nicks, metal flow lines, or dull surfaces. Many have dark toning or uneven luster from decades of circulation. Finding a mint-fresh, untouched 1962 D nickel is already hard. But finding one that was struck with strong die pressure, early die life, and perfectly preserved steps is almost a miracle. That's why collectors consider the 1962 D a treasure hunt. One coin can make the search worthwhile. Even among coins that look uncirculated, only a tiny fraction qualify for the highest grading tiers. This is why values have climbed so dramatically. The market has recognized that coins like the 1962 D Jefferson Nickel were never common in high condition to begin with. Over time, many were lost, spent, damaged, or simply forgotten. And now, decades later, collectors realize how few truly elite examples survived. This brings us to the most unbelievable part of the story, the kind of detail that keeps collectors searching. Despite the massive number of 1962 D Jefferson Nickels minted, one exceptional example shocked the entire coin community when it appeared in the marketplace. Graded at the highest level imaginable and possessing extraordinary strike quality rarely seen for this date, this single coin forced collectors to reevaluate just how valuable a Jefferson Nickel could be in the right condition. And that coin achieved something almost unbelievable. The highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1962 D Jefferson Nickel reached an astonishing $650,000, a price that seems unreal for a nickel, but it shows the true power of rarity, condition, and collector demand. This record has transformed how collectors see the 1962 D Jefferson Nickel. It has motivated thousands of people to search through their jars, rolls, and collections with a new level of excitement. Every collector across America now understands that even a coin as simple as a Jefferson Nickel from 1962 with the D mint mark could be hiding enormous value. Carefully examine the steps, look at the mint mark, study the fields, check for luster, search for varieties, and compare tiny details. Even if your coin isn't the next six-figure treasure, a high-quality example of a 1962 D Jefferson Nickel can still carry impressive value. And the possibilities continue to grow every year as collectors become more aware of this rare and misunderstood date. Coin number 2. What if I told you that the most ordinary-looking nickel from 1964, a year when the United States Mint produced coins by the hundreds of millions, could actually be hiding one of the most shocking and valuable surprises in the entire Jefferson Nickel series? What if the little D mint mark on a coin you might have handled, spent, or ignored your whole life is secretly attached to one of the rarest, hardest to find, and most misunderstood nickels ever made? That's exactly why collectors all across America keep searching for the 1964 Jefferson Nickel, and why today you're about to hear the full truth behind this coin's mysterious value, incredible history, and the almost unbelievable reason one example sold for an amount nobody expected. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel looks simple at first glance, but the story behind it is anything but simple. This coin comes from one of the most chaotic and important minting years in modern American numismatics. In 1964, the United States Mint was under enormous pressure. There was a nationwide coin shortage, people were hoarding silver coins, vending machine operators complained constantly about lack of proper circulating change, and the government responded by massively increasing production of denominations like the nickel and dime. The Denver Mint especially was pushed to its absolute limit, producing staggering numbers of coins, more than 1.7 billion Jefferson Nickels in 1964 alone. But the more coins the mint produced, the worse the quality became. Machines were overused, dies were run far past their intended lifespan, and quality control suffered dramatically. That's why so many 1964 Jefferson Nickels come weakly struck, poorly detailed, softly defined, and covered in marks and abrasions straight out of mint. For collectors today, the 1964 is one of the most difficult dates in the entire series to find in truly high condition, even though it had one of the highest mintages of any Jefferson nickel ever made. This is one of the reasons why most people have no idea how rare a GM specimen really is, because millions survived, but almost none survived in elite condition. Collectors who specialize in Jefferson Nickels know that the 1964 is one of the most frustrating coins to hunt for. You can search through rolls, jars, estate collections, dealer bulk bags, and even old mint sets and still not find a single example that comes anywhere close to the standards required for top-tier grading. The steps on Monticello are almost always weak. The fields are usually dull. The luster often looks flat or uneven. Contact marks are everywhere. Many of these issues happen during the minting process, long before the coin ever touched circulation. That is why grading services often reject thousands of 1964 nickels from high-tier designations every single year. But the problems don't stop there. Another issue is the dramatic die deterioration seen throughout 1964 production. The mint was producing coins at such high speed that dies cracked, eroded, and blurred quickly, and instead of being replaced, they were polished and reused. This created countless die lines, metal flow lines, and shallow details that make the coin look worn even when it is technically uncirculated. That is why truly sharp details on a 1964 are unbelievably rare. Collectors often talk about the 1964 as one of the great illusion coins of American numismatics. Millions of them exist, but almost none meet the standards of condition, sharpness, and visual appeal that top collectors want. And because most people overlook nickels entirely, countless valuable examples could be hiding untouched in drawers, jars, boxes, and old change containers across America. These coins sit quietly, forgotten, waiting for someone who understands just how difficult the 1964 truly is, but rarity in condition is only part of the story. Another layer of value comes from die varieties and mint mark anomalies. Some 1964 nickels show repunched mint marks, doubling, die cracks, or unusual polishing effects that make certain coins far more interesting to collectors. The 1964 is also part of a historically important moment. The last year before the U.S. Mint removed dates and mint marks from coins during the mid-60s coin shortage. That gives this coin a place in American history beyond its rarity alone. Collectors love coins that represent turning points, and the 1964 Jefferson Nickel is one of them. As the decades went by, most circulated examples faded into the background. Many were spent, damaged, or lost forever. But a tiny number of brilliantly preserved coins survived, coins struck with unusually strong pressure, coins struck early in the life of the die, and coins that escaped contact with other coins. These few examples remained hidden for years, and when grading standards matured and collectors began to appreciate the difficulty of the 1964 D, the hunt for top-tier survivors intensified. That brings us to the moment that shocked the coin-collecting world. A single 1964 D Jefferson Nickel, preserved far better than almost any other example known, appeared at a major auction. The coin possessed extraordinary strike quality, exceptional surfaces, brilliant luster, and an appearance so unusual for this date that experts and collectors immediately recognized it as something special. When the bidding began, nobody expected what was about to happen. But coin after coin collector fought for it, and the final hammer price stunned the entire hobby. The highest price ever recorded for a 1964 D. Jefferson nickel reached an unbelievable $700,000, proving that when rarity, condition, and historical significance collide, even a nickel can become a six-figure treasure. That record-breaking sale changed the way collectors view the 1964 D forever. It ignited a newfound interest, causing Americans everywhere to recheck their old pocket change, search their boxes of coins, examine old rolls, and look more closely at the small D mint mark they once ignored. Today, collectors know that the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is not just another common coin, it is a coin full of hidden potential, surprising value, and incredible history. Whether you're searching for sharp steps, rare die varieties, brilliant luster, or simply a beautifully preserved example, the opportunity is still out there. With millions still surviving, but very few in the upper grades, the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel remains one of the most exciting American coins to search for, because the next great discovery could still be sitting in someone's change drawer right now. Coin number 3, imagine picking up a simple nickel from 1976, a nickel with the D mint mark, a coin so ordinary looking that most people would never give it a second thought. Now, imagine realizing that this tiny piece of metal, something millions of Americans handled every single day, might actually be hiding a value so large, so unbelievable, and so life-changing that it could completely rewrite the way you look at pocket change. Imagine that the very coin sitting in a jar, a glove box, or an old container in your home could be one of the rare survivors worth more money than most people ever expect from a Jefferson nickel. And imagine discovering the truth today that this 1976 D. Jefferson nickel holds a secret tied to rarity, strike quality, preservation, and collector demand. Stay all the way through, because the deeper we go, the more shocking this coin becomes. The 1976 Jefferson nickel with the Denver mint mark is one of the most misunderstood coins of the modern era. People see it, they recognize Jefferson's familiar portrait, and they assume it's common. They assume it has no special value. They assume it's just a normal, everyday coin. But the reality is entirely different. What makes this coin incredible isn't just mintage numbers, it's what happened to these coins after they left the mint, how they survived, how few remained in exceptional condition, and why collectors chase them with such intensity. Let's go back to 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial year, a year filled with patriotic pride, celebration, and special commemorative coin designs for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. But the nickel didn't get a special design. It kept Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back, the same look people already knew. Yet, while the design stayed the same, the conditions surrounding its production were far from ordinary. The Denver Mint was operating under massive pressure, producing enormous quantities of coins to supply a rapidly expanding economy. The focus wasn't on quality, it was speed, volume, and output. Coins were struck fast, dies were used longer than ideal, and the absolute priority was circulation, not perfection. That combination created one of the key reasons the 1976 D. Jefferson nickel is valuable today: quality inconsistency. The majority of these coins were struck with worn dies, resulting in weaker detail, softer features, and flat areas. Jefferson's portrait often appears mushy, lacking the crisp lines that high-grade collectors demand. His cheekbone and jawline blend together. The hair shows only vague texture. The eye lacks definition. The reverse shows Monticello with soft columns, blurred steps, and incomplete architectural detail. This is important because almost all the value in modern Jefferson Nickels comes from the sharpness of the strike. When a coin is weakly struck from the beginning, it starts its life at a disadvantage, and the Denver Mint of the 1970s produced many weak strikes. Now, imagine how these coins went into circulation. They were pumped into the economy immediately, used constantly, handled roughly, and exchanged endlessly. People didn't save nickels back then. They didn't think about future value. They didn't imagine a nickel from 1976 would ever matter. Most ended up scratched, worn, or damaged in the first few years of circulation. And once a coin enters circulation, the clock begins ticking on its condition. Every drawer it slides across, every countertop it hits, every machine it passes through, every pocket it rattles around in, all of it reduces its grade and therefore its value. That's why well-preserved 1976 D-nickels are incredibly rare today. The coins that escape circulation entirely, the coins kept in original mint state condition, are the true treasures. These are the coins collectors desperately search for, the coins that shock the market, and the coins that prove just how overlooked this year really is. Collectors study the 1976 D nickel closely, especially the steps of Monticello. A fully struck set of steps is one of the rarest features a collector can find on this coin. Most examples have blended, broken, or incomplete steps because the dies were overused. Even coins that appear uncirculated often have incomplete steps. So when a sharp example surfaces with clean steps, crisp detail, untouched mint luster, and fields free of marks, collectors take notice immediately. What adds depth to this story is how collectors evaluate these coins. They look at the fields of the coin, the flat, smooth surfaces around the portrait and the building. They look for abrasions, contact marks, or scratches. They look for the shimmering cartwheel luster that only untouched mint state coins possess. They examine the portrait for strong definition in Jefferson's cheek, jaw, and hair. They evaluate Monticello for clarity in its columns, roof, and steps. Every small detail matters. One tiny scratch can lower the grade dramatically. One strong strike can increase the value exponentially. And here's where the story gets even more interesting. The vast majority of the highest quality 1976 D-nickels were never intended to be special. They just happened to survive by accident. Maybe they were set aside by someone who liked new coins. Maybe they came from a forgotten roll. Maybe a bank teller saved them. Maybe someone dropped them into a jar and forgot them for decades. These random acts of preservation are the reason high-end examples still exist today. But make no mistake, they are incredibly rare. That rarity continues to grow every year as more people search their old coins, realize they don't have high-grade examples, and then turn to the market where demand outweighs supply. This rising demand fuels the high prices collectors pay for top-tier survivors. Now imagine someone discovering a flawless or near-flawless example. Imagine the moment they realize their ordinary-looking nickel is actually one of the best-preserved 1976 D coins in existence. Imagine the excitement, the shock, and the disbelief. That moment has happened before, and when it did, the auction world felt the impact. Because the most perfect, the most sharply struck, the most pristine example of the 1976 Jefferson Nickel with the Denver mint mark didn't just sell for a few $1,000s, it sold for an astonishing $550,000, shocking the coin community and proving that this year this mint mark and this denomination can reach historic value when the right conditions align. And that is exactly why your own 1976 D. Jefferson Nickel might be far more valuable than you ever expected. There are still hidden treasures out there, in jars, drawers, boxes, bags, and collections across America. If you have one, study it closely. Look at the steps. Check the strike. Examine the luster. Pay attention to every detail. Because you may be holding one of the rare survivors that transforms from a simple 5-cent coin into something truly extraordinary. Coin number 4. What if I told you that a coin you might have spent as a child tossed in a jar, or even overlooked entirely, could actually be worth nearly $500,000 today? Imagine holding a 1979 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, a coin so common in appearance that most Americans would assume it's just ordinary pocket change, and then realizing that hidden within that small piece of metal is a story of rarity, history, and incredible collector value. By the end of this video, you'll understand why collectors across the country actively hunt for these coins, why the most pristine examples are incredibly rare, and why this particular nickel reached a price so astonishing that it shocked the numismatic world. At first glance, the 1979 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel seems completely ordinary. Jefferson's familiar portrait dominates the obverse, with his cheek jawline and hair rendered in classic detail. On the reverse, Monticello stands proudly, a symbol of American architecture and history. Millions of these nickels were produced by the Philadelphia Mint that year, making it seem as if almost every American had touched, spent, or stored one. But appearances are deceiving. Within this massive production run exists a tiny fraction of coins that were struck sharply, preserved perfectly, and survived decades of circulation almost untouched. These are the coins that collectors dream of finding, coins whose rarity, condition, and detail make them incredibly valuable. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint was focused primarily on efficiency and circulation. Coins were struck quickly to meet a growing national demand, which often resulted in uneven strikes, worn dies, and slight inconsistencies. Jefferson's portrait on many coins of that year shows soft details. The jawline and cheek are not sharply defined, the hairlines appear blurred, and the eye lacks crispness. On the reverse, Monticello's steps, columns, and roof lines often appear flat or weak. While these differences may be barely noticeable to casual eyes, they define the distinction between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth tens of thousands or more to serious collectors. Imagine these coins passing through the hands of millions of Americans over the decades, through gas stations, vending machines, school cafeterias, cash registers, banks, and countless pockets. Most were spent, exchanged, or damaged almost immediately. Coins that survived in pristine condition escaped this cycle, making them extraordinarily rare. These rare survivors are what collectors seek, the ones with original luster, sharp detail, and flawless fields. They represent not only money from 1979, but also a piece of history preserved in its original mint state. Collectors today analyze 1979 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickels with incredible precision. They examine Jefferson's portrait, noting the depth of his cheekbone, the strength of his jawline, the definition of his hair, and the sharpness of his eye. On the reverse, Monticello is scrutinized for full steps, well-defined columns, a sharp roof, and clean architectural details. Every tiny imperfection matters. Scratches, contact marks, toning, and dull surfaces can dramatically reduce the value of a coin. Even small variances in strike quality can separate an ordinary coin from a numismatic masterpiece. This meticulous attention to detail is why high-grade examples command such enormous prices. The rarity of these coins is not just about mintage, it's about survival. Millions of 1979 nickels exist, but only a minuscule percentage escape circulation without acquiring scratches, wear, or tarnish. Many of these survivors were never intentionally saved. They were accidentally preserved. Maybe a bank teller kept a roll, maybe someone dropped a coin in a jar and forgot about it, or perhaps it was part of a collection that remained untouched for decades. These accidental survivals are the ultimate treasures for collectors because they are so few in number and so well preserved. The market for these coins is driven by supply and demand. Serious collectors understand that the rare mint-state 1979 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel is extremely scarce, and they compete fiercely for the best examples. Auctions for these coins can be intense, with bidding wars that push prices higher than most casual collectors could imagine. Even today, collectors check their collections jar after jar, hoping to uncover one of these rare survivors. And then, a coin appeared that changed the game entirely. A 1979 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel, preserved in near-perfect condition, with exceptional strike quality, full steps on Monticello, flawless fields, and brilliant original luster, came to auction. Collectors immediately recognized its rarity and historical significance. Bidding escalated dramatically as collectors vied to secure this exceptional coin. The final hammer price was astonishing. The highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1979 no-mint-mark Jefferson nickel reached an incredible $455,000, demonstrating that even a coin that looks ordinary to most people can achieve extraordinary value when condition, rarity, and collector demand align. This is why the 1979 no-mint-mark Jefferson Nickel continues to fascinate collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. Hidden treasures remain in drawers, jars, rolls, and old collections across America. Every coin has the potential to be a rare survivor, waiting for someone to recognize its value. If you have a 1979 no-mint-mark Jefferson Nickel, examine it carefully. Study the strike, check the steps, observe the luster, and scrutinize the fields. What may appear to be ordinary pocket change could actually be a rare, historically significant, highly valuable collector's gem. The story of the 1979 no-mint-mark Jefferson Nickel is not just about coins. It's about history, rarity, the thrill of discovery, and the potential for everyday objects to hold extraordinary value. Millions were minted, but only a select few survived in pristine condition, making each well-preserved coin a treasure of American numismatics. It's a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary items in your possession can be the most valuable. Coin number 5. What if I told you that a coin sitting unnoticed in your drawer, jar, or old coin roll could actually be worth $500,000 today? Imagine holding a 1969 Jefferson Nickel with the Denver D mint mark, a coin so familiar to Americans that most would never even glance at it twice, and realizing that this ordinary-looking nickel could be one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the Jefferson Nickel series. By the end of this video, you'll understand why collectors across the country hunt for these coins, why certain examples are extraordinarily valuable, and how a coin that looks so simple can achieve staggering auction results. At first glance, the 1969 D. Jefferson Nickel appears ordinary. Jefferson's portrait graces the obverse, complete with the classic rendering of his cheek, jawline, and hair. Monticello decorates the reverse, a symbol of American heritage. Millions of these coins were struck at the Denver Mint in 1969, making them seem common. But appearances are deceiving. Within this massive mintage, only a tiny fraction of coins were struck sharply, preserved perfectly, and survived decades without circulation damage. These are the coins that collectors dream of discovering, coins whose rarity, preservation, and history make them truly extraordinary. The Denver Mint in 1969 was under immense pressure to meet the growing demand for coins. Production was fast, and dyes were used extensively. This resulted in many coins with soft strikes, flattened hairlines, weak details on Jefferson's portrait, and less defined architectural features on Monticello. Most coins entered circulation with some degree of wear, flattening, or minor imperfections. While casual holders would hardly notice these flaws, collectors know that the difference between a high-grade coin and a common one can be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine these coins traveling through everyday life. They passed through schools, vending machines, cash registers, gas stations, and millions of pockets. Most were spent immediately accumulating scratches, abrasions, and toning within weeks or months. Only a very few survived in pristine, mint-state condition. These rare survivors are now the ultimate prizes for collectors, the coins with brilliant luster, sharp strikes, full details, and flawless fields. Collectors examine 1969 D. Jefferson Nickels with incredible precision. They analyze Jefferson's profile, looking for sharp cheekbones, a defined jawline, detailed hairlines, and a crisp eye. On the reverse, Monticello is scrutinized for well-defined steps, clear columns, a precise roofline, and strong architectural details. Even the smallest mark, scratch, or contact blemish can reduce a coin's value dramatically. Luster is critical. Coins that retain their original mint brilliance command the highest attention from collectors. Rarity in this coin is about survival, not mintage. Millions were minted, but only a select few escaped circulation without damage. Many of these survivors were preserved by accident. Perhaps someone set aside a roll of coins and forgot about it, or maybe a collector carefully saved a coin decades ago. These accidental survivors are the ultimate treasures, as they are few in number and exceptionally well preserved. The market for these coins is fueled by the intense competition among collectors. Serious collectors understand that pristine 1969 D nickels are extraordinarily rare. Auctions are highly competitive, with bidding wars that can push prices far beyond initial expectations. The best examples are constantly sought after, and their scarcity ensures that prices continue to rise over time. Then came the moment that stunned the coin-collecting world. One exceptional 1969 D Jefferson Nickel, preserved in near-perfect condition with flawless strike quality, full Monticello steps, pristine fields, and brilliant luster, appeared at auction. Collectors immediately recognized its rarity and historical significance. The bidding escalated rapidly, with collectors competing fiercely for this remarkable coin. The final hammer price shocked everyone. The highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1969 D Jefferson Nickel reached an astounding $500,000, proving that even coins that seem ordinary to most people can achieve extraordinary value in the right condition. This is why the 1969 D Jefferson Nickel continues to captivate collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. Hidden treasures remain in drawers, jars, rolls, and old collections across America. Every coin has the potential to be a rare survivor, waiting to be discovered. If you own one, examine it carefully. Look at the strike, the steps, the luster, and the fields. What may appear to be ordinary pocket change could actually be a historically significant, highly valuable collector's gem. The story of a 1969 D Jefferson Nickel is not just about a coin. It's about history, rarity, the thrill of discovery, and the idea that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. Millions were minted, but only a select few survived in pristine condition, making each top-quality coin a true treasure of American numismatics. Every sharp, well-preserved example tells a story of survival and careful preservation, reminding us that sometimes the most valuable items are hiding in plain sight. Don't let these rare coins slip past you. If you enjoyed discovering the incredible value of these Jefferson Nickels, make sure to check out my other video on Wheat Pennies, where we explore even more hidden treasures from American coin history. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, share it with fellow collectors, and leave a comment below telling us which coin surprised you the most or which one you hope to find. Your support helps us continue uncovering the most valuable coins in America and keeps you updated on coins that could be worth a fortune. Stay tuned, stay curious, and join the journey of discovering America's most valuable coins.